Okay, the next lesson we're going to be working on is another human resource lesson, and we are going to be doing an organization chart to show how all the different people in the organization report up through each other, the reporting structure. And we're going to be looking at salaries for the various positions on the org chart. There is a document here that shows the exact organization chart you're going to be creating. You're going to try to duplicate this exactly using Lucidchart. Except for that, under each of these titles, you're going to give these people a salary range. Where it says sales team, service team, production team, we're going to assume that this is a variety of people that may have a bunch of different titles. So we're going to ignore those, but we're going to get salaries for the marketing coordinator, market research assistant, vice president of customer service, manager of accounting and finance, uh, IT/web designer, the vice president of marketing, the vice president of sales, vice president of production, and the human resource manager themselves. We're also going to look at the chief operating officer and the chief executive officer, as well as the administrative assistant, which is the clerical person supporting the chief executive officer. As we've discussed, this admin assistant title is quite lucrative in New York City, especially working in some of the financial firms. So this used to be a title like a secretary. Now it is. This job is often done by men in New York City because it pays extremely well. The word rule of thumb is that people on the bottom of the organization chart make less money than the people as they're moving up. In this case, I've put both the market research assistant and the marketing coordinator here, um, and they may or may not be make more money than each other. This is just the way I listed it because there's only so many spots on the page. But in every case, the top level here, these middle managers, they always make more money than the people underneath them. So if the marketing and coordinator and the research coordinator end up having a similar salary, that's fine. But when they get promoted, your vice president of marketing has to have a higher salary than them. Now, if you see a title Vice President of Customer Service, Marketing, Sales, Production, they generally have similar salaries. And people with the title of manager of this or manager of that, they also tend to have similar salaries. Um, Other companies may choose the word director or something like that. If you have the word chief in your title, you have similar salaries. A chief is always going to make more than the people on the chart below them. So if you started as a marketing coordinator, later became the vice president of marketing, worked your way up to the chief operating officer, and finally the board appointed you as a chief executive officer to run the whole company, you would expect to get a raise every single time, which means that the best way to do this is to start at the bottom of the org chart and work your way up as to what those salaries will be. And that is exactly what I'm going to show you how to do. So first of all, we're going to make the chart, and we're going to make the structure of it in Lucidcharts. When you go to Lucidchart, you'll open a new document, and you may see your restaurant out there from what you did before. Then you'll open a Lucidchart document. And then you're going to bring in objects that you could just use a regular box. I prefer to use these rectangles, but this one's fine, just a regular text box. It has the word text in it, showing you that you can type right there. And on this org chart, you have, I feel like I just lost my box here. I'm going to control minus minus because it looks like I got a whole nother page in here that I didn't want. And then I'm going to recenter this paper by just flipping this way like that. So I have my chief executive officer. I have my chief operating officer. And now I can control C to copy and V. And I get a bunch of other boxes that I can just start to drag around here. Now, each of these boxes, as I'm lining them up, may give me some lines to show me, guidelines to show me exactly how to line them up. If that doesn't work perfectly, I'm okay with that. I just want to create a space underneath here where I can select all of these by just drawing a box around them. And I'm going to arrange objects to the top so they're all equally arranged. I'm going to arrange them again. I'm going to distribute them horizontally. So as long as I have the endpoints where I want them, these are going to distribute nicely. Now, I think I would like to move these over as well so that they all line up and we can see this reporting structure. Now I'm going to grab a line here and I'm going to go to this Chief Operating Officer spot, and everyone's basically going to report into the Chief Operating Officer. Now, if I were to try to draw another line right now, I can't because I'm on this line already. So I'm just going to click off of it, and then I'm going to hover over that red dot again and do this again. And when I do, I click off that, go back to the red dot. You will see that all these lines, because everything down here is arranged to the top, they have an equivalent height. These lines are going to show up at an equivalent height as well. And it's going to look like a nice, super clean org chart because all the lines are going to line up super nice. And we're going to throw in a couple of pieces down here. Maybe this one's the marketing analyst. So I'm going to start down here, and I'm going to call this one a market research analyst. And this market research analyst is going to, let me grab another line, is going to report to this person right here. And now after I fill in all of these titles, I can fill in some colors if I want. I can put some color in here, make the chart pretty. I can pull in some titles, and I'm going to put my company name here. So you pick a name. And if you want it to look nice, I would definitely take my company name and I would make it significantly larger, maybe a 24. You can leave it like a box, or you can pull it out straight as a straight line, and by grabbing the handles here, and maybe throw a bold on that. That looks great. There's some other little thing here that got thrown there. I'm just going to delete it. Okay, so now I can Control++, like most graphics programs and most Google programs. Whoops, not what I want to do. And I can zoom in here, and I'm working on my market research analyst at this point in time. Let me make that all capitals. And now I'm going to give this person a salary. So if I go back over to the assignment shows this link to O-Net, and also in the assignment down here it says go out to O-Net. And you can click on this, and you're going to get directly to O-Net. And you can put in here market research analyst. So when you go to the market research analyst, this is going to come up on top, market research analyst. For some of these other job titles, you may need to look around for one that you think would work for this spot, work the best. So I'm going to click on this one, and there's a lot of information about what market research analysts do. So if this looks like the correct person to you by reading this description, then you're going to roll down here and say, yep, they need a certain number of, they do these kinds of tasks. They need these technology skills. The ones with the fire marks next to them are the ones that are really hot right now in the industry in terms of who's hiring, what kind of knowledge you need to have, what kind of skills, abilities, and activities. And down here, as you keep going, you'll see that most of these people have bachelor's degrees or master's degrees, which is even higher than a bachelor's degree. So they either have a 4-year college degree, or almost 40% of them have more than a 4-year college degree. Because these analyst positions, they tend to attract people who really do a lot of detail level work with difficult, complicated work. So right here it says the average national wage for this person is $63,790. Now you could go with that. If you look at our zip code 12533 and click go, you will see that there's more detailed information. The New York metro area, which is where we live, tends to average around 76,000. 42 to 135 is what you see. With the average of 76. And this one, the orange one is all of New York, and then this blue one is the United States in general. So we live a little bit outside of New York City, so you might go with a salary range here that's somewhere between 68 and 75, something like that. And that would be good. If you were actually doing this as an HR manager, you might dig down into even more full details here, and you can see by region. And you might say, hey, we pretty much live in the Poughkeepsie Mid-Hudson region, and the one here that I see in the Mid-Hudson region is Kingston. So somebody with this title may make as little as $28,000, or as high as $100,000 in Kingston, with an average being 57. Or am I reading that a little off? The average in Kingston is about 50. And so 40 to 75 is the range that you would see in Kingston. Um, if you are looking here at the New York, the capital region up near Albany, once again, it's 40 to 60. But then, of course, you look at New York City, and all of a sudden it's 56 to 104. So you can see there's a lot of variability depending upon where you work. But we're going to just go with this one right here. We're going to call it, I'm sorry, this orange one, 68 to 75. So we'll go back to our chart here, and on the market research analyst, we'll click in that box, but instead of hitting the enter key, well, I guess we can hit the enter key. We'll do $68 dash 75, and then we'll put the K next to it to mean 1,000. Now, once you research all the titles in your organization chart, you will hit the share button. You'll give them each a salary. You'll hit the share button. And you will, first it says you got to rename this. It's called blank. You're going to call it org chart. And after you call it org chart, you rename it. It's going to allow you to share it. You're going to get this shareable link. And you are going to, it says link copied. You're going to go back over to the class page and post this link on the class page. And your entire document at this point will have it will have colors if you'd like it, your company name. It will have each of the objects from this chart right here, and it will have a salary under each one. And that's it. You have your org chart, and you have the salaries you're going to pay each of your employees.